I have this foundational quote within Black Studies from Frantz Fanon's Black Skins, White Masks beside me because it captures what my project argues is a formative site of difficulty for the field. I mean formative in two senses of the word, formative as in a point of generation, as in generativity, and formative as in a point which determines what will follow or that which decides form. The matter of object or objectness, I argue, is a foundational site of disciplinary struggle, which creates the iconicity within this quotation. Let me explain this not. There is a mystification surrounding the creation of Fanon as an object through Blackness, wherein reading as a creative act masquerades as recognition. The phrase, look, a Negro, is a reading which is really a declarative or conjuring, bringing into being conceptually the thing that it purports to name. In other words, Blackness is created, not so much objectively discovered, when Fanon is cast symbolically as Blackness is representative through this statement. And then, this being object poses for Fanon a barrier to, quote, attaining to the source of the world. This translated phrase takes me to my project's point of intervention. Because the objectification of Blackness, even as an object of thought or idea, risks and has often equated to the objectification of actual people, there is a tension for anyone trying to think Blackness to take up Blackness as object of study, or to take up objects of study in a field defined thematically around Blackness. For the one racialized Black, this is compounded phenomenologically by the fact that the condition of anyone's being in the world and thinking are necessarily through a body, as an object among objects, regardless of race. Yet, one's being object as a point of being human versus one's being rendered object in the way Fanon expresses here creates an opposition. Hortense Spillers also explored this challenge for Black Studies scholarship in Crisis of the Negro Intellectual, a post-date about 2 decades ago. And Alex Wahalia then clarifies her point in that article singularly as, quote, instead of assuming that Black Studies reflects an already existent series of real objects, we need to draw attention to the complex ways this field of inquiry contributes to or articulates the creation of objects of knowledge, such as the Black community, Black culture, and indeed Black studies. Or else the field accepts too easily that race is a given natural and/or cultural phenomenon. Wahalia here gestures towards the discursivity of Blackness, the moment Blackness passes into the world from the unnamed interlocutor to Fanon through this intersubjective hail. My dissertation, titled Psychoanalytics Toward a Black Object Study, works within the tension specifically located at the junction between attaining to the source and Black objectness. I use psychoanalytic modes for thinking object to study African-American women's literature, to attain to the source of Blackness, if you will, or attend to it. To offer a theorization of Blackness's materialization as a meaningful object in the world through intersubjective processes of reading. For Spillers also points out that the problem of object for Black studies is the empiricist concept of knowledge, which implies the transparency of reading. The hegemonic ideal of reading as proffering information to the reader about what is out there is part of the trouble. This fact makes Black feminist literary studies especially suited to the task of elaborating the ways in which the how of Blackness is being read, shapes the what, which Blackness then becomes. Focusing on how Blackness comes to meaning prior to the fact of any human body's existence, recall, Fanon only comes to find he is racistly objectified through this reading, not before, opens up new angles from which to learn about our objects. It also upholds one of the principles to which Black feminist inquiry dedicates itself, to insist that race is not an outgrowth of natural human difference, which is to insist on the ineffability of the person beyond her objectification as a racial and ideological symbol. Thank you.